Very proud that the NGR is the largest registry in the world, but we want to make it also the best registry in the world. And there's no doubt there's an increasing focus on data quality in terms of underpinning the robustness of outputs, whether it be the annual report, scientific papers, information on hospitals, and indeed information on individual surgeons. So it's absolutely essential that we understand the data quality and ensure that it's the best data quality that we can obtain. So I think the most important aspect of data quality is twofold, really. I think the first thing to do, we've got to make sure that we're not missing entries. In other words, we're missing primaries and revisions which have been carried out but that we're not collecting. And that's potentially quite important in terms of doing the analysis. And the second part is trying to understand that if we have got missing entries, what can we do to recover that information? And the third bit actually is to understand if the data that we have within the NGR is a correct representation of the procedure. Okay. So the data quality is a really important component of the NGR, and we can only ensure that the data quality is sufficient if it's checked within the unit. I think there's reputational risk by submitting actually inadequate data or incorrect data, so I think it's really important that the data that is submitted to the NGR is correct and valid. Well, I think in the past we're aware centrally in the NGR that we can only do so much with the data once it's submitted. The prime responsibility of submitting the data and ensuring the data is accurate has to rely with the unit. So there's no way centrally we can accurately recover that data, and we're reliant with units in terms of doing that to the best of the ability. In the past we've just relied on encouragement and feedback to units in terms of their data compliance, but what we're really trying to do now is to add structure in terms of how we actually do that. So the experience in Wrightington was really quite interesting as part of the pilots to understand the feasibility of this, and we supplied the NGR with data from our patient administration system, or HES, using a series of codes. We passed this information over through a secure system, NHS Net. The NGR then did a matching process to our submissions and sent us back a workbook identifying the match data, the data that was in the NGR but not in the PAS system, and actually obviously information that was recorded as being primary or revision hip and knee replacement surgery, which we had not submitted to the NGR. So for the first time we're able to match at a patient level potentially missing information. There were some unexpected benefits, I think. I sort of went into this thinking it's all about getting better data capture, but I really, for the first time, understood how much interest there was within the hospital. There's no doubt that data quality is taken quite importantly, and very importantly, not least of which is for payment by results. Coding, I think, has improved enormously. We do have data quality managers in the hospital, and they were very interested when I spoke to them because they realised that perhaps the NGR might identify cases that hadn't been coded, and they were very helpful. Secondly, the hospital data managers I think have felt a bit under pressure to just submit forms and haven't felt as supported as they could have been. And by engaging the clinical staff and the hospital system, I think this has led to increased interest and energy in the whole system, sharing the responsibility to collect this data in a timely manner. Because I think it's not just a retrospective analysis. I think what we're trying to do is to add value and structure within the hospital so that moving forward we collect more timely and accurate data. And in fact, one of the things that has happened is that there's an increased communication between the coding personnel and the register people, who are now swapping information around to look at unsubmitted data sooner rather than later.